What's going on, guys? We're back with a brand new video. Today's video we're back with a highly popular series on the channel, which is the AFL Redrafts. Now we're getting quite deep in these AFL Redrafts now, and we're currently doing the 2008 AFL Redraft. Now this redraft had a lot of great players, a lot of players that have been a consistent players through their career. There's been a few superstars in here, but it's not one of these super drafts like the 2009 one or the 2001 or arguably the 2018 one if everyone pans out how they're doing right now. So it'll be great. There's a lot of players that missed out that have been great to their club and played a lot of games for their club but never been a real superstar. But I've picked players that have had a lot of recognition, not just as a great team player but as a solo player in their career. So without further ado, let's get straight into the redraft. At number 10, I've gone with Stephen Hill, the brother of Brad Hill and the older brother of Brad Hill, and he has been an absolute great player throughout his career for Fremantle. He's came runner-up best and fairest multiple times for Fremantle throughout his career. He's still at Fremantle today. He's an All-Australian nominee in 2015. That's the closest he's came to the All-Australian position. Of course, when I think Freo finished first that season, or I could be thinking of the season after in 2016. And he was a great contributor to that great Freo side that almost won the premiership in that 2013 year. So he's had great success in the early parts of his career. Now he's just a handy veteran with the up-and-coming Fremantle side. At number 9, I've gone with Dan Rich. Now, he was originally picked 7 in the draft and was actually this draft's NAB Rising Star, winning it in the 2009 season, having a great season. The year that he came into a team that actually pushed for finals, played a couple of games in the final series, and he was a big part of that. He came straight in and has pretty much been the same consistent player all through his career until he's playing now. He's been one of the most dangerous halfbacks. Has the ability to hit the scoreboard more than pretty much almost started the trend of the halfbacks coming and flowing through for goals. He has a long boot on him, as we know that happened during the final series this year. Even he was bombing goals, and he's hit the 30-year-old mark now, and he still has the leg on him. We just have to hope he doesn't pull his hamstring by the way he's going. He's also came runner-up in the best and fairest, and back in the day, early 2010s era, there used to be a preseason cup that took very, very seriously, and he actually was the MVP of the 2013 preseason, which is pretty crazy to think how serious they used to take it back then. So yeah. At number 8, I've gone with Dane Beams. Now, he was originally taken pick 29 to the Collingwood Football Club in his second season in the AFL, ended up playing in the 2010 premiership for Collingwood, and started off his career so strong, even getting an All-Australian nod in the 2012 season for Collingwood, before eventually in the end of 2014 wanting to get some opportunity for himself and take the #1 role at an underperforming Brisbane Lions side, and ended up winning over his career at best and fairest at Collingwood and also the Brisbane Lions. To go along with some of his other career accomplishments, he was a 3-time Q Clash best on ground. Everyone knows the Q Clash. And then he was also a captain for Brisbane Lions for 2 seasons. But everyone knows he ended up coming back to Collingwood, only playing a few games before eventually announcing his retirement due to personal reasons and the mental health reasons. So he's the only player on this list that's currently retired, but we all know why, and he was an absolute champion player while he was still in the AFL. Next up at number 7, I've gone with Rory Sloane. Now, this man is a 2-time Adelaide Best and Fairest winner, to go along with 1-time All-Australian, and he did get nominated for All-Australian in the 2017 season. But since 2020, he's been the captain for this football club, has been an absolute great midfielder during their successful run during that 2017, 16, 15 type of period. He led the midfield and almost led him to a premiership if he didn't end up coming runner-up to the Tigers. absolute champion midfielder for Adelaide, an absolute steal at pick 44. At number 6, I've gone with Michael Hurley. Now, he was originally pick 5 to the SM Football Club. He did originally get drafted as a key forward, but about halfway through his career, he ended up getting told to switch into the back line, and that was probably the best decision that ever got made for himself. I don't know if he made the decision or the club put it on him, but whatever it was, he absolutely turned into one of the best fullbacks during the mid-2010 era. He was a two-time All-Australian in the 2015 and 2017 season, came a runner-up best and fairest multiple times at the football club, and was an absolute unit down there, and reinvented his career, because at the early parts he was not a great footballer, but everything, when there's a bad key forward, they always end up getting switched back and then turning into absolute stars. So absolute champion of a player. At number 5, I've gone with Michael Walters. Now, Michael Walters was originally picked 53, and what a steal he turned out to be. Early parts of his career, he was a bit of a troublemaker, as most coaches would tell you, especially Ross Lyon. He did an interview about how much of a troublemaker, and then he told him to turn his career around, and he definitely did. He was the leading goal kicker in the Fremantle season when they end up making the grand final. So that's a bigger accomplishment than pretty much anything I'm about to say about him. He was also an All-Australian in 2019 and absolutely got robbed of an All-Australian in 2013. He's never won a best and fairest for the Fremantle Football Club. He's come runner-up multiple times. He was actually a 5-time leading goal kicker for Fremantle Dockers, even though half of them were coming when they were in their rebuild stage, but 2 of them were, actually 3 of them were in there when Fremantle were on top of the AFL world. Sadly, he never has a premiership to his name. They came close. He was part of that big surge that almost grabbed him a premiership. At number 4, I've gone with Luke Shuey. Now, he was originally picked 18 in the draft, and some people could think this is a bit high for Luke Shuey, but I feel like this is where he belongs. He's the only Norm Smith medalist in this draft class, which is a really big honour to have, and I put that above any All-Australian or anything like that. If you become the best on ground in the AFL Grand Final while winning the flag is absolutely a huge honour in the AFL, and I put that above so many other things when I look at a player. But to go along with that, he's only been nominated once for the All-Australian, which I was very surprised about, because he's been one of the most classy midfielders in the competition. I swear, whenever I look at an AFL draft prospects, and they do like the interviews before they get drafted, and they ask the midfielders who they model their game about, and most of the time it's always Luke Shuey. Like, I swear 90% of the people always say they model their game off Luke Shuey, and you see why. He's just a classy midfielder, absolute star, and absolutely deserves everything that comes through his career, and I'm surprised he's not an All-Australian, and he could still become an All-Australian in the coming years. Next up at number 3, I have Dan Hanbury, that was originally picked 30 to Sydney, and everyone that's watching this video probably just went down and hit dislike because I have Dan Hanbury this high. But if you asked me at the start of 2017 who was the best player in this draft, hands down it would have been Dan Hanbury. There would have been no one even in the same ballpark as Dan Hanbury. He was one of the most courageous midfielders when he was at Sydney, and you're probably saying, well, what happened since then? He's been a very, very injury-prone player. He never got injured before the 2016 Grand Final, when everyone knows Dan Hanbury made a rule change after he got his legs taken out and absolutely destroyed his knee. Did not play in 2017, and since he came back, he was very injury-prone. But the games that he's played in since then have resulted in him being still the same player. If you guys don't think that Dan Hanbury has just completely gone to crap since he joined St Kilda, I recommend you to watch that this year's elimination, or last year's elimination final against the Bulldogs. Everyone had the right about Paddy Ryder and Jaron Geary, but he was easily the best midfielder. He was so much better than Jack Steele and all that. And fun fact, he's had the most All-Australians in this draft class. He was an All-Australian in 2013 and 15 and also 16. He also was the AFL Player of the Year in 2015. He has never won a best and fairest in his career though, but he was also the 2010 NAB AFL Rising Star, and he was also in that Sydney Premiership side, and I reckon he should have won the Norm Smith medal. I can't remember who they gave it to, but this man had the most touches on the ground. I think he kicked 2 or 3 goals. In my eyes, I thought he was going to win the Norm Smith. Sadly, I can't remember who ended up winning it. I think it was Ryan O'Keefe that ended up winning it, but I feel like this man was right in the Norm Smith conversation. At number 2, I have Steele Sidebottom. Now, he was originally pick 11 in the 2008 draft, and has been one of the most consistent midfielders since he entered the AFL until this right now. Was not an above average footballer for most of his career, but in 2018 something hit Scott Prenderby is when that Collingwood team jumped up the ladder. He ended up finishing second in the 2018 Brownlow medal, and surprisingly was a first time All-Australian. I don't know, he was never an All-Australian before then, but a first time All-Australian in that 2018 year, and that was the best season of his career. But he is a multiple best and fairest winner, and he did runner up a lot of times. He was also in the Premiership in 2010, so he's been an absolute consistent player, and you can see why he got taken so high, and he probably should have got taken at number 2 in my opinion. At number 1, I've got Nick Nat Anui. Now, he was originally picked 2, and he's an absolute superstar. I reckon if it wasn't for a few injuries in the mid part of his career, that this man would have been the best ruckman in AFL history. I reckon he's just that good. His tap work is probably the best I've ever seen. I don't know, you guys in the comments could say who's the best hit out ruckman you've ever seen, but this is the best hit out ruckman I've ever seen. He's the most athletic ruckman I've ever seen. The way he moves around the ground is absolutely ridiculous. He's ridiculously fast. I remember in that 2019, I think it was elimination final against Essendon, when he chased down Adam Sard. Adam Sard before then, still currently, in everyone's eyes, the best, like the fastest player in the AFL. And Nick Nanui chased him down after coming off an ACL injury. You know how ridiculous that is? He's a 2-time All-Australian. He also got nominated once in 2015, and was also won the 2015 AFL Mark of the Year. If you don't remember that mark, that was absolutely ridiculous. One of the craziest things I've ever seen a 7-footer ever do in my life. And this man it looks like he just entered his prime of his career. Like 2020 was easily the best I've ever seen Nick Nat play. He wasn't as athletic as he was in probably like the early part of his career, like in 2015 when he was jumping on blokes' heads for fun, and he looked like a 7-foot Liam Ryan. So yeah, that's why I've got Nick Nat at number 1. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe. We're on the road to 400 subscribers, and we're slowly every day getting closer to that. We just hit 300 subscribers a couple of days ago, and we've already on the road to that 400 subscriber mark. So if you're new around here, what are you doing? Go down below, hit that subscribe button, and thanks for watching, guys.